Alongside VFL Nick Reveiz, I'm Eric Cain, VolQuest.com, and wanted to use this opportunity when we're all just kind of shut in and hanging out to catch up with a couple of VFL. So I thought I would start with a former team captain, a local guy to the Knoxville area, and Nick Reveiz from Farragut High School. Nick, how you doing, man? I know it's the famous phrases right now, uncertain times, uncharted waters, but how are you and the family that continues to grow?
We're good. We're doing like everyone else, the social distancing and sheltering in place and hanging out at the house. But it's been, I've really enjoyed the time with my family, with my wife, and with our 4 kids now who are all 2 years apart, 6, 4, 2, and newborn. So we're going through a new normal too of working from home and recruiting and all that. But also, it's fun to be able to hang out with my kids and get to be around them. So. It's unfortunate what's going on in the world, which that's what we're praying, that God would heal our nation, heal our city, heal the globe, really, just because of everything that's going on. But trying to do our part to stay safe and also keep other people safe.
Well, Nick, you coached me at Carson Newman. That's, our relationship, and that was shortly thereafter. You're in the ministry for a little bit when you left Tennessee and finished up college. But now you're the defensive coordinator at Albany College down in Georgia. And what is this time really? I mean, we're talking all Tennessee athletics here and recruiting and everything on VolQuest, but you're also, recruiting. You're a football coach. You've been shut out of your facility. You're working from home. How is this time period for you down there at Albany State?
It's been exactly what you're saying. Just it's kind of everywhere. We're doing multiple things all at the same time, and I think everyone feels a sense, whether you're Division I, Division II, no matter what level, NFL, it's just kind of like, okay, you're trying to get a game plan and attack it. But there's a lot of things to attack that you could do. I mean, this morning I was doing everything from helping some of our incoming freshmen with getting their documents into admissions to recruiting for the 2021 class. So it's a lot of uncertainty. And I think a lot of, obviously, university presidents and head football coaches are all trying to get a game plan. But I think the big thing is that we don't know when the next thing is, we're waiting to kind of hear what's the next date or when, and we don't know that. So we're trying to continue to work and do what we can now, but also not getting too far ahead of ourselves. So, there are some advantages, like me and you were talking about, to recruiting, and you can kind of delve into that a little deeper. Which I definitely have enjoyed that. But the big thing too is just trusting the Lord with, hey, we don't know the timing of this. No one knows. It's uncertain. So don't panic. Just continue to do what you know to do and be faithful with the little things.
Well, Nick, I know that, your time in Knoxville, for now it's kind of a closed chapter. You're down in Georgia. You've moved on and, again, raising a family and diving into your own coaching career. But when you think back of your days at Tennessee, a local kid that walked on, I believe, to Tennessee, gained a scholarship, and obviously went through a number of different trials and tribulations while in Knoxville, but ended up being a really solid inside part of that defense, one of the better linebackers in the SEC. When you look back years later at your time in Knoxville, what do you think about?
Great memories, special time. I think it's a time that God really developed me a lot and put me around some great people. Put me around a great organization that impacted my life and changed me forever. So when I think about Knoxville, I think about University of Tennessee and all the heart relationships that I was able to have. I'm just thankful for my time, and I'm excited for the direction of the program of Coach Fulmer and Coach Pruitt. I actually ran into Coach Pruitt recruiting maybe a year and a half ago down in Florida, and I got to talk with him just a little bit, and we were walking in the same high school, and I just told him, hey, go Vols. I'm a former player, so I'm rooting you on, and it was great to see their success this year. And then I still talk to Coach Fulmer every now and then just because he was my coach. And so he's very supportive of what I'm doing, and obviously I'm supporting him and excited for him and excited for the program.
You mentioned the leadership of the program now and how it got to a point in 2017 where a move was made, and first year under Jeremy Pruitt, a 5-7 record, and then a really bad start to the 2019 campaign, but the team rebounded and ended up coming from behind, and kind of a synopsis of that campaign there in that Taxslayer Gator Bowl, but finished with 8 wins on the season. The recruiting trail has gained so much momentum with Pruitt and his coaches. T. Martin has come home. There seems to be a lot of that word I'm throwing around momentum with this program. And from afar, what have you liked about seeing it, seeing your alma mater, a place where you lettered, starting to kind of trend in what looks to be the right direction?
It's encouraging. I try to keep up with them as much as I can. Obviously, during the season, I don't get to watch much Tennessee football, but I got to watch. I got to watch the ball game, and on days when we played early and they played late, I tried to catch as much as I could. But like you said, I think they've got a lot of great things going on, and that what we talked about earlier, it's really about the people. When you have good people in an organization, there's going to be good things that happen. When you got good hearts in an organization, the nucleus is going to affect people and change players. And that takes time, though. It's not just everyone wants it to be an instant thing, but it does not happen like that. So, from everyone I've met that is there now, and obviously I know Coach Fulmer really well, I'm excited for them, excited for the future. And I think God's put some special people there. So I want to continue to support them, and I'm excited to see what they do.
Talking with former Tennessee linebacker and Farragut native Nick Reveiz, who's currently a defensive coordinator down at Albany State in Georgia. Nick, I've got a question. I'm covering recruiting right now, a little bit for the radio station, obviously for VolQuest, and something I really didn't pay attention to a whole lot when I was a player. But half the battle, half your job is recruiting. You go in and you get your players right for that day, for that coming Saturday's game. But then at night, you're on the phone, you're on social media, you're now trying to bring in the next wave of prospects to your school. How's that balancing act?
It's not easy. I think the biggest thing too, Eric, about recruiting is it's about relationships. It's about getting to know people. When you get to the upper echelon like Tennessee, the margin between this player and that player gets to be really small. So what you try to do as a coach is you try to evaluate their heart, and do they have what it takes to go that next level, to work to that intensity level that you need at Tennessee. I mean, it's just like Eric Cain was a great linebacker, not because he was specifically gifted in all these athletic abilities, just because he had great heart. You couldn't out-grit Eric Cain. And so that's the same thing in recruiting. You're trying to find who's the guy that really, really wants to do this, and they play this thing with all their heart, with all their soul. And so when you find those guys and they have the athletic ability paired with it, that's pretty special. And if you can find those guys, you can have a really successful football team. So I think, obviously that's what Coach Pruitt's doing. That's who he's trying to find. And that's the hardest part of recruiting, is you're trying to evaluate the heart. If you can figure out somebody's heart and they got a good heart and they're playing with all their heart, then you got a bunch of guys, 11 guys at a time playing for you. It's going to be a special season.
Nick, you talked about building relationships and recruiting. Obviously, when you were a player at Tennessee, you built a relationship with a number of players that you still keep in touch with to today. And I know it's probably not to the extent of anybody would want to, because we all have our lives and we're all busy. And, obviously you coaching football. But who were some of those guys that you still keep up with? You at least try to talk to every other month or so just to check in and see how they are. Who were some of those players or former Tennessee coaches or whoever they might be that you keep in touch with?
It's like I told you earlier, just all the relationships and going through 3 different coaching staffs. You meet a lot of people and you get to know a lot of people and build some special relationships. But my roommate, Luke Stalker, who's down with the Falcons, I actually got to see him being down here in Georgia. We went and watched the OTA last May. So I try to keep up with him every so often, a couple months. Last Sunday, I talked with Cody Pope, former offensive lineman that I also roomed with for a little bit. About a year and a half ago, Jock McClendon, he's out with the LA Rams, so does player development with them. He got me involved with the internship out there, and so I got to see him, be with his family. I could go through the list of, there's coaches that I still talk to, former players I still talk with. It's a special network. I feel extremely blessed to be a part of the Tennessee family, and everything that God used Tennessee and the people I met with to impact my life. It was tremendous.
A couple more and I'll get you out the door here. It was such a weird time for Tennessee athletics, that November to January time period back in 2017 to 2018. But it was weird. Coach Fulmer comes back in, he takes over the reins, and he's the acting athletic director, and he's done a really nice job, I think, on all accounts since then. How unique is it that the guy that brought you to Tennessee, the guy that recruited you, your first head coach, now is the athletics director, and how do you think he's doing overall with the entire body of Tennessee athletics?
Well, from everything I can evaluate, I think he's doing a great job. I just talked to him about a month ago, 2 months ago. I still talk with him, and what's funny is actually when I got done playing, and my wife and I got married, I was really praying and wrestling about, all right, God, what do you call me to do? And I actually had breakfast with Coach Fulmer, and I asked him for some advice, and he started to steer me in the direction and help me realize I think God was calling me to coach. And so it's just little things like that. When you meet people that do things for you when it may not even benefit them, you know that they care about you, and there's something special about them. So Coach Fulmer, I think, is doing a great job. I think he's going to continue to do a good job. And that's the special thing too about Tennessee is that, I think they look for people that have Tennessee ties, and it's not just a place to them. It's a place that's impacted them. So they want to see the program do well and the university do well. I think that's what you have in Coach Fulmer.
All right, last one. You just brought up there Tennessee ties. I mean, your father was a great kicker here at the university, and obviously his tie-in with our radio station. I've got to see him quite a few times. He is electric after Tennessee wins and losses. He's a lot of fun. But your dad kicked at Tennessee. You played at Tennessee. Your brother came in and played at Tennessee. How was it kind of growing up in that family? And was it something to where you always wanted to be a Vol, or did you give a lot of thought about maybe going somewhere else? But really growing up a Tennessee lifer, how was that?
It was special. I grew up from 8 years old on going to Tennessee home games. I like to describe it as I grew up in the shadows of Neyland Stadium. Like you said, just all the ties that I had to it. But when it came to being a senior in high school, I wanted to play college football. I didn't just want to go sit somewhere. So my dad and I, we investigated other programs and to see if I'd have the best chance to play in the NCAA and college football. It didn't matter where. But when it came down to it, really Tennessee had the best opportunity for me. And that was as a walk-on. And Coach Fulmer, I sat in his office before my freshman year, and he assured me, that I would have a chance to prove myself to play. And that's really all I could ask for. And so it was, but what was even more amazing though, is when I went to Tennessee and even going through a coaching change, I grew up, Philip Fulmer was the head coach of Tennessee. That's all I knew. Yeah. So when it changed, when I was there, it kind of rocked my world. And just to see all the pieces and how God put my life together and taught me a lot while I was at Tennessee, I think that was one of the most encouraging things to me was all the life lessons that I learned. And that's what you realize as a coach, like you're really not just coaching football. I mean, that, Eric, from the people that have coached you, like you're really coaching life. Mm-hmm. And like Coach Sparks used to say, football is a great laboratory for learning to figure out. It's just a little microcosm, to go to teach bigger pictures of what you're going to do one day as a husband, as a dad. So it's pretty special, to be able to be a part of this profession, to have foundation of being around special people at Tennessee, and then now to continue to do that outside of Tennessee.
All right. I know what your answer is going to be, but 5 years from now, Nick Reveiz, what are you doing? Where are you?
I want to be exactly where God's called me to be, whether that's here at Albany State, whether that's across the world. I think something unfortunately that's happened in our profession in coaching is that we've gotten so focused on the level and the pay and on where it is that we've lost sight of the impact of be where your feet are. And so that's what I want to do a good job of. I want to be right where God's called me to be. And I want to continue to be here until he tells me to go somewhere else, if he does. So I don't know. I would one day. I think God's birthed it in my heart to one day I want to be a head coach. I've been around a couple good ones. Ken Sparks at Carson Newman, he impacted my life and, changed forever how I think about coaching and how I think about football. So what he did, that's something that impacted me huge. So I would like to be a head coach maybe one day, God willing, but you know what? That may not be in the cards. That may not be what God has for me, but so we'll see. But to answer your question, I'm going to just try to keep taking it one step at a time, see if we can get a football season this fall and then go from there.
All right, Nick, I appreciate the time. Of course, it's this coronavirus, COVID-19. It's a weird time for for everybody. It's literally affecting everybody, and obviously in our lives covering sports like myself and coaching football like you. Stay inside, keep the family safe, and hopefully this wave will pass, and we can talk to you again when there is football in the fall.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for taking the time to talk with me.
Awesome. All right, he's Nick Reveiz, former Tennessee football captain, linebacker. I'm Eric Cain here on ballplus.com.